Priya. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I'm also fine as usual. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite books, Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. He is an African writer and he wrote this book at the age of 27. This is basically a post-colonial novel based on a fictional African village, Umuofia. And the protagonist is Okonkwo the wrestler. You can find here a lot of societal problems, and it is for me a history through fiction. Why? Let's talk about it. This book is actually divided into three main parts, having 25 individual chapters. The initial 13 chapters comes under the first chapter, where chapter number 14 to 19 comes under the second part, and the last 5 chapters, the concluding chapters, chapter number 20 to 25, comes under the last part. Things Fall Apart is a post-colonial novel based on a fictional African village, Umuofia, and it is depicting the time period when the white colonizers came and invaded several big, small, any kind of African villages. And their purpose was, according to them, to civilize these barbarous people. But on the contrary, the so-called barbarous, uncivilized African tribes have their own norms, their own rituals, their own rules, and their own beliefs, faith. And they used to believe in a way that it was their own responsibility to make change. I'm actually not going to talk about the plotline in detail, but I would like to share my own opinion, own perception after I have finished reading this book. And as I've said that, it is not a mere mere tool of entertaining, of pleasing you, but it is something that can provoke your thoughts, your thinking, that can catch your attention to the fact, to the historical facts, to the history and its effects on these people. How things started changing, and how things started falling apart. He used to think in a way that as he had overcome two different difficult phases of his life, he could do anything. He could do even stand against the white people, the white colonizers, the outsiders, according to him, the Anko, strange people whom he couldn't bear even a single moment. And he stood against all the white colonizers as a rebellious leader. And that characteristic of him actually ultimately, fetched him to his ultimate fate. I'm not going to talk about what happened actually to him at the end, because it is up to you. If you read, you'll yourself get to know that. Okonkwo not only stood as a character depicting steadfastness, strong will, and hard work, but also he is the representative of all the men belonging to a patriarchal society who used to think in a way that women are less significant creature and they could be beaten at any time they want. You know what? Okonkwo used to beat his woman just because to hold that dominance over the whole family, just to show that he's not a womanly character and he has his own dominance, his own authority over them, and he could beat them anytime he wants. As for language, it is written not in a very simple way, not even in a truly difficult way or language. But the African terms like Ozo, like Ozini, like Okonkwo, like Unoka, like Obraika, and all these names, really seemed difficult for me at the time when I was first reading. Then I needed to Google the meaning of this words like ojini, like ozo, this and that. This is this was the only problem that I faced while I was reading this book. Otherwise, I truly enjoyed, that I've said, not in an entertaining way, but as it gave me and gave me an opportunity to think, to see at things with a critical eye. The characters and their names were all Africans, like Igwefi, the younger uh, wife of Okonkwo, and their daughter Izinma. And this character is also interesting. It is, I mean, Izinma was the most favorite of children of Okonkwo. Why? Because she possessed, according to Okonkwo, all the needed qualities of Okonkwo. She inherited the qualities like steadfastness, like strong will, like intelligence from her father, and that's why Okonkwo at a time, regretted on the fact why she didn't born as a son, because the eldest son Noe that Okonkwo had was completely different from him, with the qualities perhaps inherited from his grandfather Unoka, the father of Okonkwo. He was fond of stories, fond of you know, womanless. Like the society, as I've said, that treated women as inferior ones that needed to stay inside of the hut to cook food for their husband in a time. Okonkwo is such a character who was haunted with the fear of being called woman, of being considered womanly, considered inferior. And it was such a loophole in his character. The men were allowed to marry as many women as they could. The affordability of having women was depending on their respect on the society, on their money. At that time there was no money, no concept of money there in the village, but on the fact that mm, the number of farms, the number of farming lands, and ability to grow crops. I personally think that some books are meant for entertainment, and some books are meant to affect your thinking, your mentality in a great way. And this book is the second type. The protagonist Okonkwo is a great wrestler. He is a self-made wrestler and also a self-made farmer. He is an epitome of hard work, labor, and strong will. He is completely a contrast to the character of his father, Unoka. For me, Unoka is such a character who is the representative of all the people who born in a society that overlooks their own individual talents, their own individual nature. Uruka was such a person who loved to play flute all the time instead of going to farming, going to the land, fields, and grow crops. And he was a person who believed in his fate, his personal god, Chai. Actually, CHI, this is an African word, and you can find a lot of African words, African terms in this book, as if the author is trying to depict the African society in a great way. Because of his love towards us, he is, trying to reach at the root of the society, the root of his own, of his own root, his own origin. There was an African proverb that I loved greatly. If you say yes, your chai will confirm. That means, chai means your personal god or fate. So if you believe in yourself, if you believe that you could, you can, then your fate will also support you. And believing in that proverb, Okonkwo tried his best. He started from the ground level. He inherited nothing but a land, nothing but a and nothing but a hut. And there was a line in the book, in the first initial stage, uh, Okonkwo inherited nothing from his father, not even a young wife and farming lands. In such, I mean, I'm not actually reciting the the exact line from the passage, but it was quite like that. And you know what? I was dumbstruck at the moment when I first read this passage. Then I read it again. As if like it was a norm at the society, of this society, to have women to inherit even women, young women, from your father. And as I've said, that it is a typically patriarchal society, dividing the women from the men and treating completely in a different way. And one thing that I'd like to say, that the plot was quite, in a way, dragged at the end, because the last portion was only consisted of 5 chapters, starting from chapter number 20 to 25, and it was quite fast moving, as if the things, as if the uh, you know as if the events had occurred in a fast way, and the first portions were quite slower than the last one. So you can have there you can proceed there in a slow way, having all the qualities, and having all the knowledge, having been introduced to all the characters one by one, and their own individualities, and the societal norms. And the first portions are actually depicting the whole Umuofian village, Umuofian culture, Umuofian faith, religion, as a representative of the whole African culture. So for me, uh, Chinua Achebe has not only drawn the society to depict its bright sides, to glorify it, but it is, he is representing the society, the village, as it is, with no, you know, no coloring, no, hiding facts, but it is actually being represented as it is. Even if a woman gave birth to twin, then the twins were considered to be a curse to the society, a blemish to the society, and they would instantly thrown away from the society. If it's informative, if it's useful, then please do like my video and please do share. Bye.